Heroes are decided by their noble deeds rather than their appearance. Did you know that Indonesia saw real heroes in the form of Indian soldiers between 1942 and 1945? These were the days where Indonesia was taken over by the Dutch East Indies. Indonesia was called as the Netherlands of the East. The Dutch had taken over it and they had their ways. The British-Dutch Allied forces had requested for help to control the Japanese army that took over Indonesia. Now these were the soldiers of the Gurkha regiment in India. Back then, India was also being ruled by the British. This explains why the Gurkha regiment was sent by the British to Indonesia. Under the pretext of helping the Dutch combat the Japanese army, what actually was happening was Indonesians were being suppressed because they were on to a revolt to end the Dutch slavery. The Gurkha regiment sent by the British had Muslims, Sikhs, Jats and Marathas. Now these people kind of understood what was going on and they realized that what they were actually helping the Dutch were to suppress the Indonesian Muslims rather than combat the Japanese. Alarm bells started ringing and these guys quickly understood what they were doing and they started taking the side of the local Indonesian people. There were about 600 Muslim soldiers who withdrew from the British army. Inspired by the principles of Islam, they escaped the British army and they started assisting the local Indonesians. Although these 600 soldiers were a part of the British army, they withdrew from the army along with their arms and ammunition and they started assisting the local Indonesians. The British soldiers were strictly advised not to listen to the radio. These soldiers listened to the radio and they were inspired by the talks by Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad and leaders of that sort. With these principles, they held their heads high and they started revolting against the British and the Dutch by helping the local Indonesian people. After the atomic bomb attack by the US, Japanese withdrew and British soldiers were sent over to take care of the proceedings from the Japanese army. Inspired by these leaders back in India, the Muslim soldiers, the 600 Muslim soldiers, decided that they were not going to follow the orders of the British and they started assisting the local Indonesians. What's to know is out of these 600 strong Muslim soldiers army from the British India, there were a lot of soldiers who sacrificed their lives when it came to supporting Indonesian army. Is they lost their lives by supporting what was right than blindly following the instructions from the British. Inspired by these acts of valor, Indonesian government readily was open to recruit these people into their own army if these people desired. Along with that, if people wanted to go back to their countries, India and Pakistan, the Indonesian embassies in these countries offered them positions as security officers in their embassies. A lot of people married local Indonesian women and settled down in Indonesia, working for the Indonesian military. What this goes out to say is no matter what religion you belong to, no matter what your practice is, no matter what language you speak, what is right and what is wrong is wrong. A big shout out to all the Muslim brothers and the fellow soldiers of the Gurkha regiment who took their stand for what was right. A big salute to these guys.